Hi everybody and welcome to my Pilates Back to Basics session or introduction session if you've never done anything like this before. We're going to start by taking our feet to roughly hip width apart, and we think of standing up nice and tall, so we lift and lengthen through the crown of the head, but we don't want to be tense and rigid. We relax the shoulders and we just allow the knees to soften slightly. We bring our hands onto our belly and just start to notice our breathing. We're not doing anything fancy or special with the breathing at the moment. We're just noticing that gentle rise and fall that happens in the belly as we breathe naturally and easily. From here, we're going to let the arms relax down by the side and gently drop our chin towards our chest and then lift and lengthen away. So we're pushing the chin up slightly forward on the diagonal. We drop down and we lift and lengthen away. As we're working through these first few movements, gently mobilising the body, we're going to stay with that connection to the floor, through the feet, slightly soft knees, and just a general awareness of our breathing. We go down and up one more time, and from here we draw back. So slightly tucked in chin position as the head lines up over the shoulders. We then look from side to side, just checking to see how the neck is feeling today, gently encouraging, but never going to a point of pain. And that's particularly important for the neck, but also important for all of the movements that we do through the session. So we go one more time to either side, we come back to centre, we then take the ear up towards the ceiling and press the fingers down, going out on a slight diagonal. As we push the fingers down here, it helps to keep the shoulder anchored so that we get this nice lengthening down through the side of the neck and into the top of the shoulder. We're going one more to either side here, and then we let the arms relax. The head will come over slightly further, chin will come to chest, we'll roll across the front there, look over the shoulder, come back down around, over to the other side. So we're just going to roll it through and then round to the other side. We'll do one more of those, coming across the front and then over to the other side again, back to the middle. Lift the head up so we're nice and tall and we're lining up there. From here we're going to move into the shoulders, so keeping the head lined up over the spine, we draw our shoulder blades back together. We then shrug them up, hunch them forwards and slide them down. So we're rolling around and we're trying to encourage movement through these shoulder blades. So it's back, up, forward and down. One more time and then we take it back the other way. So we curl forward, we shrug up, we squeeze back and we slide down. So again, we're just rolling through there, trying to get as much movement into those shoulders as we possibly can. We're going to do a couple more, and then on this last one, just let the shoulders roll and release. Bring the hands onto the hips, and from here, tuck the tailbone underneath, send your bottom out. So we're scooping the tailbone here, pulling the hips under, and then rolling out. So we do this little back arch, lower back arch, scoop and roll. We'll do a couple of those. We're going to settle into the middle, tailbone down, hips nice and level, let the arms soften and relax. From here you may want to just hold on to a wall or a chair if you've got something there. We're just going to hover up onto the tiptoes. If you're used to doing your tiptoe balance, you don't have to hold on. And from there we flex one foot and then the other. So we're coming up onto the tiptoes. We're floating down, we're flexing through there. We're just going to do a couple more tiptoe raises and then pull the foot up towards the front of the shin. So you're encouraging that movement through the ankles and the toes. We're going to go one more time through here, floating up, floating down and flexing. And then we plant our feet back to the floor. We take our arms up overhead, we soften through the knees, stick our bottom out and do a little swing through here. So we inhale up and we exhale down. We don't want to be bending right forward here, so not coming down like this, keeping the head and the chest up, and I'm just moving more through the knees and hips. So it's just a little breath swing, and I inhale up and I exhale down. Reach and release. One more time through here and then reach it up. And this time, opening your arms out, so you're making a really big circle back behind you. From here, we step the feet out a bit wider, and then as I twist now, I'm going to lift up this back foot as it comes behind me, and then turn and twist from one side to the other. So we'll just take a couple more of those. Okay, just nice and fluid with this one. It's soft, it's fluid, it's relaxed. And we're going to do the last one here, then come back to the middle. We're just going to give the shoulders a little roll out, give the arms a little shake and the legs a little shake out as well. And then we're going to be getting down onto the mat. So come on down to your mat, and if you would like to have some head support, you may want to grab a cushion to support your head. It would depend, and I'll talk about that a bit more as we get onto the floor. Okay, so come on down. There we go. Okay, lovely. So when we get down to the floor, we're going to be here on our backs. We've got our knees bent and our feet on the floor. So we're just nice and relaxed here, arms by the side. We're going to bring the hands onto the tummy. Like I say, if you do feel that you need that head cushion, then you can bring it in here. For me, it's a bit too much. You can see here it pushes my chin into my chest, and we don't want to overcorrect the head. That's not going to be good for the neck. So if your head is comfortable resting on the floor, then you're going to go there. But if you find that your chin is tilting up and it's a bit uncomfortable on the back of the neck, then that's where the cushion would be useful, just to help straighten out through the neck and the top of the spine. So once we've got the head position sorted, we rest the hands onto the belly and we start to notice our breathing. And we just feel this gentle rise and fall of the belly coming in. The belly will rise, and coming out, the belly will fall. If you can breathe in and out through the nose, then I would do that. If you find that the nasal breathing is a little bit difficult, take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth if that helps you. Okay? Nasal breathing if you can, like I say, use the mouth if not. So we're just feeling that gentle rise and fall, and for our Pilates breathing we actually breathe a little bit more deeply. So as we inhale, we try to feel the belly rise a bit more. As we exhale, we encourage the breath away. So we get this slightly stronger, more connected feeling. And what I mean by that is that you'll feel your tummy muscles just naturally tightening up, basically, as you encourage your breath to slightly leave the body. So we're going to stay with that, and we'll actually keep the hands on the tummy for the first movement, as it will help us to connect into the breathing a little bit more as we go. So we're going to float up from here into our one leg stretch position. So this is knee above hip, so nice straight line here, and I've got a right angle there at the knee as well. So I'm going to take a breath in, and as I breathe out, push the leg away, lengthen, breathe in, draw the knee back over the hip, and I'm going to do about 10-ish. If you're normally in class with me and you would do more than that, then you should be able to fit in maybe up to about 15 if you want to go there. And if you're normally doing 2 leg work as well, you could do that, but I'm going to stick on all the single leg versions today. So I'm thinking about my breath, I'm thinking of keeping my pelvis stable. Exhale away, inhale, return. Focus on really lengthening and stretching the leg away from you, so you're not just sort of floating your leg around in the air, but you're really working purposefully, really encouraging the length. So this is about 10 repetitions now. So if you've lost count, don't worry, we're going to change sides. So the knee comes back in, the foot carefully places to the floor, the other leg comes up, and we do the same thing. One thing we probably do want to avoid is really pointing the toes so the foot gets very rigid. Although we want to really lengthen the leg, that can come sort of through the foot and still keep the foot fairly relaxed, rather than like making the foot really uncomfortable in a really tense position. So we're breathing out, we're pressing away, we're breathing in, we're coming back. We're noticing this like tightening around the centre that happens naturally with the breath, and we're keeping this nice stable pelvis position. So we're going to do a couple more through there, and that's going to be about 10 on that side. We're going to come back in, carefully place that foot down. Now in between the movements, you may either want to have a nice big full body stretch here, or you may want to curl up and in, so bringing the knees into the chest, maybe even give the back a little roll out through there. And either of those positions, or doing both, is fine in between. Then we're going to come back into knees bent, feet on the floor. I'm giving a little bit of time in between the exercises so that you can rest if you need to, but also if you're doing a few extra repetitions, you'll have time to work those extra repetitions. So we're back into our normal setup position, knees bent, feet on the floor, nice and comfortable and relaxed here. Reconnecting to the breath. For now, just noticing that normal natural breathing. Again, your belly will gently rise and fall. We then go into the Pilates breath. So as we inhale, fill up the belly more. As we exhale, encourage the breath away. We're going to float up again into that first leg, into right angle at the hip here, right angle at the knee here. Same position as we had before, but it's going to stay static. We're picking our arms up and the palms are facing inwards towards one another, so as if you could clap your hands here. I'm going to stretch both of my arms back as far as I can to start this movement. And as I stretch back, what I'm thinking about here is my rib cage, keeping my ribs connected down to the floor. So I don't want to let the chest lift up, so hopefully you can see that gap has now opened up underneath the back with the floor, but I'm going to press down through my ribs, not my low back, so I don't want to do this when I'm curling my hips. I'm staying very just relaxed through here really, and strong through the ribcage position. Now, the arms are coming out to the side, sweeping around, making a really nice big circle. So I'm stretching back, opening out, coming up to the top. We're not going to worry so much about putting the breath with the movement here, but we should definitely have an awareness of our breathing as we work through. So we're still in that connected Pilates breath. And again, we'll probably work on about 10, maybe 15 repetitions through here. And of course, if you're normally doing 2-leg work, you can go into your double static tabletop hold. I'm going to go last couple on this side, so you may be slightly ahead of me as I did quite a bit of explanation at the start, but to change legs, we're going to pop that foot down, pick up, and then we go back round the other way. So the hands come down by the side, open out, sweep around and come up to the top. So again, I'm just making those circles nice and big, opening everything up through the shoulders, the upper back and the chest. So I'm working on posture when I'm doing that, but I'm also keeping those ribs connected, supporting the weight of this leg, and I'm thinking about my breath. So that is all bringing that core connection in. So I'm coming into one last one here, and I bring the arms up to the top, and I float them down and float the foot down. And again, I'll just give you a little bit of rest time. So maybe a bit of stretching there, maybe a bit of curling up, and again, that will allow you to do a few more repetitions if you're normally doing a few more than 10 each way. Okay, lovely. So from here, we're going to turn onto our side. So you'll be coming over, of course, to face your screen so that you can see me. And we're going to set up into a nice straight line. So my head is resting here on the arm. At the moment, I've got my arm straight, but if you feel that a bit more support is better with the arm bent, that's fine. And also, going back to that cushion, you may find it beneficial here to take pressure off the neck by letting the head rest on the cushion, or maybe a rolled up towel or something is good as well. Okay, so wherever you want to go with that head position, this top hand is going to give me a bit of support here, and I'm going to lengthen away both legs. I have got some options here, but I'm going to start here, if possible, with both legs lifting away from the mat. As I breathe out, I point my toes of the top leg and I kick out forwards, so out towards your screen. Flex your foot and then draw back and do a little small squeeze behind the line of the other leg, focusing on squeezing your bum muscle there. So I'm breathing out and I'm breathing in as I squeeze back there. And we're going to keep working here, again, in that region of about 10, maybe 15 leg kicks. I'm keeping support and I'm trying to encourage the leg to work really strongly. If you're finding it sore on your hips, some people do struggle with the sideline work for that reason, I would bend your bottom leg so it's resting on the floor and it takes some of the pressure away from your hip. The movement is still the same. So we're still sweeping through that leg, kicking away as we exhale, flexing and drawing back as we inhale, and I'm generally trying to maintain a position of stability. And what I mean by that is just keeping the torso and the pelvis fairly steady. It doesn't mean I'm rigid or tense, I'm not completely still, there'll be a little bit of movement through the hip, But what I don't want to see is lots of rolling here like this. That would be too much shifting around. And you can finally just do this without support. So if you normally do that option, I'm sure you've already taken it. So that is going to be about it on that leg. We're going to slide the other leg out, keep it resting down if that's easier. Take this hand over the top, grab hold of it with this hand, and just give yourself a nice stretch out there through the whole body. We're doing a couple of breaths into the belly and the ribs. And when we've done a couple of breaths there, we'll bring this hand in, curl the knees up, and we'll push ourselves up into a sitting position. Now when I get here, I'm going to just sit nice and comfortably for a moment, and then we'll go and do the other leg in a second. For some of you, this is going to be comfortable to sit cross-legged, and that's fine, that's perfect if you can do that. Or you may prefer a more open angle, so I've got my feet together here. You may even prefer straight legs or even a slight straddle, and you can bend the knees there as well if that makes it better for you. So really just anywhere is fine as long as you feel comfortable. Wherever your legs go, the aim is to be comfortable so that you can then find your best sitting posture. So tailbone is pointing down, hips are nice and level, just like they would be in a standing posture position, and the spine is lengthening up through the crown of the head. I'm not jutting the chin forward, it's slightly tucked in, and I'm not bending my back one way or slouching the other way. So it's just a nice, relaxed, not rigid sitting position. I'm going to cross my hands over, so I've got one flat hand on top of the other one, like so. I take a breath in here to the belly, and as I breathe out, I'm turning to the side, moving through this centre section of the body here around the bottom of the rib cage. I inhale to come back, I exhale to the other side, inhaling to come back, and then I just keep working through there, and this is our spine twist exercise. Now I am going to get us to change arms in a moment, just because we want to do a few repetitions with the right arm on top and a few repetitions with the left arm on top, so that we don't create or exacerbate any imbalances. So we've done about 5 each side there, so let's change the top hand, but keep moving, turning through there, coming back and turning. We're going to keep going there, and we come back to face you, so it's here. Turn through the centre of the body. My hips again are staying fairly still here. The movement is very much focused here in this centre section. Okay, staying with the breath if possible. Exhale away, inhale back, and we'll just do one more to either side there. We're going to come back to centre this time. Let the arms relax down and give the shoulders a little roll out just to release through there. Then of course we have to repeat the side kick, so we can work the other leg. So we come down facing the other way. So you're still facing towards the screen, but you're at the other end of your mat. And again, your arm is either going to be straight or bent here under your head, whichever is more comfortable. The legs are lengthening away, and if you do need that option, remember you can let your leg rest down if that's better for you. So from here, I'm having a bit of support in front, I'm kicking out, I'm breathing out, I'm flexing the foot, and I'm breathing in. I'm going slightly behind the line of the other leg without bending that leg. Keep it dead straight and push through the heel, and focus on squeezing your bum. So we're breathing out, we're breathing in, and again we're working in that range of about 10 or 15 repetitions. And if you do know how many you did on the other side, then you would of course match that. So again, we're keeping that focus on working nice and evenly through both sides of the body. So we're going to feel very strong work with the side kick, whichever version we're doing. Very strong through the hip and thigh, very strong through the abdominals, particularly as the leg comes forward here. It's very challenging to that stability, and then like I say, of course, there's that bottom muscle work, going a little bit into the low back, the deep back and deep abdominal muscles. So we're probably coming into our last couple of repetitions now. And like I say, if you're normally doing a few more than me, that's okay, you'll have time to complete that. So we're going to stretch out both legs when we're done. We take the arm over, give ourselves a good stretch here, and we take slightly deeper breaths. We're breathing into the belly, into the ribs, a little bit more deeply than normal. We're pulling the arm over and we're really stretching there. Very nice. Good work. Now from here, we're going to be rolling over onto our tummy. So we're having a bit of a change of scene. So I'm going to come up actually and turn around, but you can literally just roll over onto your tummy. As long as you can see your screen, you'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to start here with my chin slightly tucked in, my nose just off the floor, and at the moment I'm very relaxed, so I'm softening down towards the floor. The shoulders are softening, the arms are resting gently. I'm just breathing nice and easily, and my feet are slightly apart, and my legs are nice and relaxed as well. I'm going to lift up slightly through the upper chest, so I just come away from the floor a little bit, just a very small couple of inches really. I start to think about my breathing, and I notice a little bit more breath coming into the back of the ribs if I can. So instead of focusing on belly breathing, as I inhale now, I'm going to feel the ribs expand across the back. I exhale and release the breath away. Okay, so now I'm in that position, I've got a little bit more awareness of breathing, and I'm going to float up to begin with just one arm. So I'm hovering this arm off the floor. I stretch it out in front, I draw a little circle away, or a little semicircle away to the side here. I'm not going to pull the arm all the way fully back, stop here, tuck the arm in, and then there. And I'm going to work up to about 10 of those on this side. And then I'll do the other arm, stretch, circle away. So this is a single arm breaststroke. If you're normally doing both arms together, then you would be here, stretch, circle out, tuck in, stretch, circle out, tuck in. I'm not prescribing your breath here. I'm going to let you just be aware of your breath. So we did think about breathing a bit more into the ribs, because that's really useful when you're doing front-lying work, because of course the front of your chest and your tummy are restricted by being on the floor. So we are thinking a bit more about ribcage breath if we can, but you don't have to do a set pattern with the movement. So in an upright position, this is how the movement looks. Send forward, draw round. So it's sort of like making a rainbow shape over the top of your head. And if you were doing the single arms, it would be the same. You do them all here, and then you would do them all on the other arm. Okay, so by now you've probably done a full set of at least 10, you've probably done more than that. So we're going to rest down. If you haven't already, you may have already stopped, and that's fine. We're just going to work up to the point where we can't do any more if that's the case. So we rest down here, we take the tension out of the shoulders, and we place one hand on top of the other, like so, so stack one hand and the other hand, then the forehead goes down. You'll be looking straight down. I'm going to turn my head to the side and look at the camera so you can hear me more clearly, but you would be resting your head down in the centre like that. Okay? So from here, again, I come back to just being a little bit more aware of my breathing. Feeling the ribs expand as I inhale, and a bit of gentle encouragement on the exhale. You'll still feel those abdominal muscles firing up as you feel that tension as you encourage the breath to leave the body. So from here, I am lengthening my right leg away first of all. Imagine somebody holding your ankle and purling your leg so it stretches out. You squeeze through the bum and it floats off the floor. We then inhale to lower down. We exhale away with the other leg. We inhale to release down. And we're going to keep alternating there. Again, it's probably going to be in the region of about 10 to 15 each side. We're particularly focusing here on working our bottom muscles. So I want you to think of lifting from your bottom so your whole leg lifts in one long straight piece. So like I said, somebody's holding your ankle, they pull the leg away from you. As they pull the leg away, they're also giving it a bit of a lift up, and you keep your knee straight and your leg lengthening away, and it comes then, all the tension, the work comes from your bottom muscles as you hover the leg off the floor. And you only pick the leg up to about the top of the thigh. We don't want to pick the front of the hip up, so where those hip bones are at the front of the body, we don't want to pick up through there. So we're staying quite stable and in control of our position here. And that may make it feel like quite a small movement, but that's absolutely fine. And we're just going to take another couple of repetitions here, which will take us up to about 10 on each leg. And of course, you may be going on and doing a few more of those, but there'll be a rest between, so you'll be able to have a little bit of extra reps if you need to. Like I say, up to a maximum probably of about 15 each side. You will have done at least 10 by now, so if you've lost count, don't worry, I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to tuck the toes underneath, so my heels are sticking up in the air, and I'm going to give a little shake out. So my hips are having a little wriggle side to side. My lower back is loosening, my hips are just shaking gently, and then I go down into the legs as well, and let the legs have a little shake away too. Okay. From here, I'm going to bring my hands in by the shoulders, come up onto the hands and knees. If you're still finishing off your swimming, that's fine. You can come up and join us in a moment. So I've got hands at shoulder width, I've got knees at hip width, and I'm rolling through here, tucking the tailbone and the head underneath as I roll through the spine. And then I lengthen out the other way. And I'm just going to move up and down through this position a couple of times each way, just finding where it feels comfortable. As you curl, try not to just curl the upper body, but focus on pulling your tailbone underneath as well. When we've done a few of those, we come into the centre and we pull hip to shoulder like that, and then we go hip to shoulder the other side. So this side now lengthens. So we do a couple of side to sides there, of hip to shoulder, shoulder to hip. And then when we've done a couple of those, we start to put those four movements together. So I'm now moving up and down and side to side, which is finding lots and lots of different directions for my back to go. So I'm really loosening through there, and as always, listening to our bodies and just going where it feels comfortable. I'm then going to stretch my hands a little bit further forward along the mat, and you'll either be coming here into this high hip position, so I'm stretching down through my shoulders, or you can come down into a child's pose. And I've given the high hip option in case anybody's knees aren't happy with this position. You may be better off up here, as we're just staying for a few breaths. Either way, they're both stretching your shoulders, which is what we're after here. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to slide the hands in by the knees, press the hands and roll ourselves up. So we start at the tailbone, we come all the way up to the top, and we give the shoulders a little roll when we get up there. Okay, so from here we're going to turn ourselves back around and come back down to lay on our mats. If you normally have head support, you won't need it now because we're going to be going into our shoulder bridge, and we don't actually want head support for that, okay, because it's not so good for the neck. So we're going to have our knees bent and our feet on the floor, just in the normal setup position that we were in earlier. And if we can, we're going to draw the heels a bit closer into our bottom. So you'll see there's almost a straight line here from knee down to ankle. So I don't want the feet basically out here too far away. Unless there is something wrong with your knees that means it's really uncomfortable for your knees to bend, then of course you would be better off with your feet away, but otherwise they're going to come in a little bit. So like I say, not super tucked in, you don't want to be too much either way here like this either, so that's not going to be so great for the knees, but just a nice straight line. So I let the head and shoulders relax, arms resting by the side, and we're reconnected back into that slightly deeper breathing, that Pilates breath. So as we inhale, belly rises. As we exhale, we encourage the breath away. From here, we're going to roll through the pelvis, so we flatten down through our low back actually here, and our tailbone goes from pointing at our feet when we start to pointing up towards the ceiling. So think of sending your tailbone towards your knees and then even past your knees and up towards the ceiling, so your pelvis rolls like this, it sort of spirals up. As you push up through your hips then, the rest of your back will lift away from the floor. Watch out for your knees drifting apart like this. Keep your knees in. They're not actually touching, but they are definitely having an inward feel and your feet remain nice and firmly connected to the floor. So we're not picking up our toes, we're not lifting onto the tiptoes or rolling onto the outside of the feet. Just stay very, very steady and balanced. Then we start at the top of the shoulders, so shoulder blades, then rib cage, then flattening down through the lower spine to the tailbone right at the end. So the tailbone is the last thing to come back down. So we're going to scoop and roll, peel up through the spine, but we're pushing from the hips, we're not pushing from the back. We want the back to be quite fluid as we roll up. And then we come down, keeping the bum off the floor for as long as we can, so we get this nice flattening down through the low back until eventually the bum comes back to the floor and we're back in a neutral position, which is just our natural resting spot on the floor really. And all the time as we're working through our shoulder bridge here, we're aware of our breath. So we're not really doing a set pattern of breathing here, but we are definitely noticing our breath and just being aware of it. Basically making sure that we don't end up stuck holding our breath is the main thing. So last little recap on this one then. Connection through the whole of the foot area on both feet. Knee connection, so you're not allowing your knees to wander outwards. Tailbone connection, so that's basically leading the move on the way up and controlling the move on the way down. And then that movement through the spine is rolling, peeling the back off the floor, one vertebra at a time, and then back down, also one vertebra at a time. Okay, that's going to be our last one. So you might fit in an extra couple as I'm finishing off here. So again, you might want to have a little bit of a stretch out there. You might want to have a little bit of a curl up, just wherever you want to go. Okay. And as I always say with any of the movements, listen to your body, and if you need to take a rest, not do a certain exercise, or just do an option, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so from here, we're bringing our heels in towards one another. So your heels are already quite close to your bottom from finishing shoulder bridge. You're going to have your heels together and your knees together. Stretch your arms away to the side with your palms facing up towards the ceiling. Give the knees a bit of a squeeze now. So you want to hold your knees together quite tightly here, and then just roll your knees over. Breathing out as you do so. Your head is going to turn the other way, and then we inhale to come back. The soles of your feet will briefly return to the floor as you then roll your knees over to the other way. So breathe out there. So now my knees are going that way, my head is turning towards the screen. So I inhale back. And as I work here, like I say, I'm just going to try and keep those knees stuck together if I can. The soles of the feet are on the floor just in the centre here, but as we turn, we actually roll onto the side of the ankle. So you're not actually staying completely on the soles of your feet. Although your feet remain in contact with the floor, you're not actually staying on the soles of your feet. For most of the time, they just briefly return each time at the centre and then roll away again with the knees. So we're going to take another couple of rolls here to either side. Let's try and stay with the breathing with this one if we can. So we're using the exhale as we go to the twist. And of course, we're only going as far as our back feels comfortable. We inhale back to centre. We exhale to the other side. We're just coming through those last couple of repetitions. Hopefully it feels a little bit easier as we've gone through those twists. We're coming into our last one now. So when we come back to centre this time, we're going to take one knee at a time and gather the knees into the chest. Try to shuffle the hips slightly so your back is very long and very flat on the floor. And then draw some nice circles there. So you're just rolling your back into the floor, making a few circles, and then back around the other way for a few circles as well. And all the while we're just breathing nice and easily here. We're going to pop our feet down to the floor, taking a nice big stretch out now. So lengthen the legs away, point the toes, take the arms overhead, and really lengthen. Stretch as long as you can down the front of the body. Take a couple of slightly deeper breaths. And then we're going to do the same thing with flexed feet. So pull the feet, towards your shins, not just the toes, but the whole of the foot coming up towards the shins. Keep reaching those arms away. Take a couple of breaths. And then release everything down. Bring those arms around. Draw your knees back into a bent position. Roll yourself over to the side. And from here, push yourself up. So we're coming into a sitting position. And again, like we did before, we're just going to sit nice and comfortably. So wherever feels best for you. We're going to sit nice and tall. We bring our hands together in a clasped position. We push them forward, dropping the chin slightly. So we're aiming here to open out the shoulders. And all the time, of course, keep breathing. Just be aware of your breath. We're not doing any specific breath now. We're just noticing to make sure we don't start holding. From here, we're going to sit up nice and tall again. And this time the hands just rest. I've got palms facing out there. Rest very gently on the hips. I'm going to draw the elbows towards one another for this one. So it's just a very gentle opening of the chest. And I take a couple of breaths here as well. Okay, I'm going to release those arms down. Now I take a hand to the side, the other hand comes up, and I'm taking a really nice big side bend. Try not to let the bum lift up here, keep it stuck down, and then lengthen over to the side there. Again, it's a couple of breaths. And then over to the other side. So place the hand for support, reach up and over, big lengthen away there. And again, it's a couple of breaths. Okay, we're going to come back to centre. We give the shoulders a nice little release and roll, and your session is done. Wow, done. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.